European leaders have been left angered and bemused following U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's slamming of the continent's migrant policy. With just 3 days until Trump officially taking office, former French Prime Minister Manuel Valls, who's now running for the presidency in France this year, called the incoming U.S. leader's remarks a declaration of war.
This is a provocation and a declaration of war with Europe from the President of the United States.
Well, RT's Peter Oliver joins me live now from Berlin with more on the reaction to Trump's latest statements. Now, Peter, a strong response from Manuel Valls. It seems Trump's interview has surprised many in Europe, isn't it?
Yes, there's been differing reactions across Europe to what the president-elect had to say. If we look at what he had to say about Brexit, well, those comments were quite positively received in London. He said that Brexit was a great thing and encouraged other nations to follow suit. However, that, acceptance, that welcoming spirit from London wasn't imitated here on the continent. We heard from Frans Timmermans, the first vice president of the European Commission, saying it was hardly helpful for the likes of Mr. Trump to come out and say that the European Union should be splitting up or telling other member states that they should be leaving. We also heard from top diplomats here on the continent saying that Europe would remain together despite the president-elect's comments.
I think the European Union will stick together. I'm 100% convinced of this.
The best answer to the interview with the American president, who will take office on January the 20th, is for Europeans to unite.
Well, Donald Trump seems very keen on a post-Brexit Britain. However, he laid the blame for Brexit firmly at the door of Angela Merkel. He said her policy when it came to refugees had driven the British people away, saying that they wanted to, forcing them, as he said, to want to take their country back in their own words. Now, he described Angela Merkel's policy when it comes to refugees as a catastrophic mistake. However, the German Chancellor said that Europe would prevail on its own terms.
We Europeans have our fate in our own hands.
Europe has no need for outside advice to tell it what to do.
Also touched on Donald Trump, I beg your pardon, also touched on economic issues, particularly regarding here in Germany. He said that there could potentially be a 35% tariff placed on German cars imported to the United States. Now, that prompted a very quick and very robust reception from Sigmar Gabriel, the Vice-Chancellor here in Germany, who will be standing in the elections for the centre-left party at the end of the year. He said that perhaps this was ridiculous and perhaps the United States should go about building better cars themselves. It's worth pointing out Gabriel has come in for a bit of criticism here for being overly defensive in his comments from the off there. But it does seem that we are entering essentially uncharted territory when it comes to just how Washington will deal with the European players once Donald Trump is elected on Friday. It's certainly, from the reaction we've seen from his first interview with these newspapers, seems like it could be quite entertaining indeed.
Well, thanks for giving us that update from Berlin. There was RT's Peter Oliver. Thank you. We discussed Trump's latest comments on Europe with Talk to Me radio host John Gaunt.
I think he's right to say it's been a catastrophe. It was a very wrong-headed, foolish decision, which has impacts on the whole of Western Europe, not just on Germany. And we're beginning to see a backlash across Germany to it. I think Donald Trump has a perfect right to make that point. And he thought that Britain being out of the EU was a good thing. He said it wouldn't have happened, in his opinion, if the migration situation had been dealt with by Western European politicians. And that's the point he was making. The bottom line is he was saying that a country deserves to have its own sovereignty, a country should have control over its own borders, which of course Brexit was, that's what the Brexit vote was all about. And you know, the majority of people in the United Kingdom voted to leave the EU. And I should think many of them are very happy with what he said in this interview with Michael Gove.
Donald Trump also called NATO an obsolete organization, leaving some European leaders confused by the new U.S. administration's mixed signals.
President-elect Trump's remarks about NATO are a cause for concern. It contradicts what the Secretary of Defense designate had to say at a hearing in Washington several days ago.